How is Canada more expensive than 84% of the countries in the world?
You know, cost of living in Canada is so bad when we would rather take our chances in the US.
So what makes Canada living expensive? With all these Canadian perks, why is the cost of living so darn expensive?
How do people do it? How do people survive? Like, I don't understand. And if
total of $7,510 per. This is what I spend monthly. First,
and I got myself a Cobb salad, no egg, no bacon, $30. What in the world?
This 9 things cost me almost $100.
So what is the cost difference between living in South Africa versus living in Canada?
This is about math, and the math in Canada, it's not adding up anymore.
The cost of living in Canada isn't just rising, it's suffocating. In part 1, we talked about how food prices and housing are crushing Canadians. But that was just the beginning. In part 2, we're digging deeper into the affordability crisis that's stealing not only your money, but your hope for the future.
I'm having a day. Or I'm having a life. I don't know, man. I just don't know what to do anymore.
I am so tired of paying astronomical fees for our teeth.
Okay, seriously, what the fuck is going on in Canada right now? I went grocery shopping today. Nothing wild.
The cost of living in Canada is sick. There is no more cost of living. There is only cost of surviving.
Because, baby, I don't have any idea how I would be able to afford rent now.
I don't know how people are doing it. I'm keeping track of my monthly expenses, all my necessities. I don't know how people do it. Like $5,300. I don't even have rent on here. What do you do for a living? Tell me.
Initial price is $6 plus tax, $10. That same case of water costs $3 in Ontario. Now, for us in Ontario, we're crying about the prices, the excessive.
How is it going to get better? Our economy is so fucked.
Serious question, how are people affording anything in 2025?
This is really freaking ridiculous. Like, how are people living anymore?
Welcome to Canadian Rant, the place where Canadians say what too many are thinking, but too few are willing to say out loud. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join the conversation, because your story, your struggles, and your voice matter here. In part 1, we pulled back the curtain on 2 of the biggest struggles Canadians are facing: skyrocketing food prices and unaffordable housing. And while those issues alone are enough to break families, the truth is, they're only the tip of the iceberg. In part 2, we're diving even deeper, because it's not just rent and groceries draining Canadians, it's everything. Gas prices, utilities, insurance, taxes, childcare, internet. The list keeps getting longer while paychecks stay the same. And the emotional toll, it's devastating. Parents skipping meals so their kids don't have to. Seniors who worked their whole lives now struggling to heat their homes. Young people delaying families, delaying dreams, because they simply can't afford stability anymore. So here's the real question. How much more can Canadians take before something breaks? Stick around, because today we're exposing the deeper layers of a crisis that every Canadian is living through.
Interprovincial tariffs in Canada are astronomical. They're massive. So this just, again, adds to the cost of living. Like, there's so many things that add to our goddamn cost of living. It's so fucking expensive to live here in Canada. We import a lot of stuff. So any product, any service, any food that we're importing from outside of Canada, we have to pay in Canadian dollars. When your dollar is weak, it's more expensive for us as Canadians. We have that. We have the carbon tax. We have the income tax, the corporate tax, the this tax, the digital services tax. It doesn't fucking stop. The interstate average tariff in the United States of America, the average is 3%. We're in the teens in Canada.
I just want to know if anybody else's insurance is as crazy as mine is. I just got my renewal for the coming year, and my auto policy is up another $500, and my homeowners is up $800. I'm just supposed to magically find an extra $1,300 laying around? This is really freaking ridiculous. Like, how are people living anymore?
Look at this. I completely empathize with what this man is going through, and honestly, this is happening to way too many people in the housing crisis today.
I'm not here to bash renting. Most of us start out that way. But when your rent spikes overnight and suddenly your paycheck barely covers housing, that's not sustainable. That's financial quicksand. And the worst part, you don't control any of it. Here's the truth. Homeownership isn't just about a big house or a white picket fence. It's about stability, predictable payments, and a chance to build equity instead of just surviving. You might not get your dream home on day one, but you will get peace of mind, you'll gain a foothold, and you'll start building something that's yours. If you're tired of feeling stuck and want to understand what options are out there for you, there's no pressure, just honest answers. Shoot me a DM and let's talk.
Canada, let me ask you a serious question. Do you guys really find joy in paying for things that are super expensive? Like, come on. Like, the reason I'm saying this is because that a friend of mine went to Nova Scotia the other day, and he went to Costco to purchase a case of water, right? The same case of water that we pay in Ontario for $3, he paid $10 for it. Now, if I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong in a comment. That case, it's a case of water of 40 cases in total inside of it. He paid $10. The initial price is $6 plus tax, $10. That same case of water costs $3 in Ontario. Now, for us in Ontario, we're crying about the price is the excessive price, but you got people over there in Nova Scotia that are paying like triple that amount or quadruple that amount. How does that make sense? And the crazy part about it is, when I took a look into the poll, the entire Nova Scotia area, it's all liberal. So please tell me, do we really like to pay for things that are so expensive? Like, seriously, like in housing, you know, like even in water? Like, really?
Okay, seriously, what the fuck is going on in Canada right now? I went grocery shopping today. Nothing wild. This wasn't even a big grocery run. Milk, some fruit, a few snacks for my son. Paper towels, cereal. No meat, no dinner stuff. No big haul. Tell me why that shit came out to $247 and 88 cents for snacks. How are people supposed to live like that? And yeah, I probably didn't need the extra bag of chips for myself, but also, fuck it. We all deserve one tiny moment of joy before we go bankrupt from grapes. I'm seriously contemplating hiding the snacks in my bedroom and handing the snacks out like they're controlled substances. One granola bar at a time. You want a juice box? Gotta do a chore. Real talk though, how's everyone surviving this? What job pays you enough not to panic at the grocery store? All I know is that I'm beyond grateful for finding something else. I work 2 hours a day from my phone, and I average $900 a day. No team, no selling, no bullshit. If you're stressed and tired of this financial anxiety, message me or comment down below. I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. Because this version of life, it's not sustainable. And honestly, I'm done pretending it is.
How the fuck does this make any sense? Someone earning $300,000 to $400,000 a year salary has a net worth of $95 million. Someone needs to explain this to me because I've worked for the banking world for 9 years. I've seen customers make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, even $500,000 a year. And guess what? None of them had a net worth of close to $100 million. None of them even had a net worth close to $50 million. But let's break this massive scam down. Justin Trudeau's salary was $400,000. His net worth, $95 million. Jagmeet Singh's salary, $270,000. His net worth, $78 million. Pierre's salary, $300,000. Net worth, $25 million. I guess the most reasonable out of all of them. Now tell me, how the fuck do you turn a government paycheck into tens of millions of dollars unless you're funneling taxpayers' money straight into your pocket? And while they're stacking millions, Canadians are working 4 to 5 months out of the year for free because that money is taken in a form of tax and goes straight to the government. And you're working 2 to 3 jobs just to put food on the table and pay for gas while we drive a broken down car because you cannot afford to finance a new one even at 0% financing. For fuck's sake, some Canadians are even ready to hand over their house keys to the banks because they cannot keep up anymore. When is enough enough? When are Canadians gonna wake up and say we're done being robbed blindly? This isn't leadership. This is theft. Theft in broad daylight, in front of your eyes. So Canada, the question is, when do we stand the fuck up?
Question for you. I live in Sudbury, Ontario. It's quite nice, you can see. There are some really great places here. I've got an okay job. I make an okay amount of money. Not huge by any stretch. I'm not into the six figures, not even close. But the odds of me finding and affording a 2-bedroom apartment for myself and my son, or hell, even coming close to affording a mortgage, are just completely off the table. I have a place with a friend right now, and I'm quite grateful for that. How the hell is anybody supposed to afford to live anymore? What do we do? I work for the government as my day job, and I'm trying to get this acting career going really, really well. But what do we do?
I know I'm usually joke around on this thing, but I thought I'd get real for a second. I don't know if this is just in Canada, but the price of living has gone out of control. Like, I don't know how people are doing it. I'm keeping track of my monthly expenses, all my necessities. I don't know how people do it. Like $5,300. I don't even have rent on here. What do you do for a living? Tell me.
Calgary, Alberta is going to see a tax increase by 5% next year, possibly. What is that going to do? Just hurt families. Just make it harder and harder for you to survive. I mean, folks can barely afford to buy groceries. They can't afford another tax increase. You're taking more money out of people's bank accounts. And what happens? It just goes to taxes, food, rent, mortgage, going out for restaurant, going out to eat. No, that's not going to happen. Restaurants are down by 20%, up to 60% because of poor management. We can't have this anymore. And there's an election coming up in October 20th. We need to make some major changes to fix Calgary, Alberta, to fix Alberta, period. Every downtown core in every city that I've been in is completely empty, overrun with homelessness, drug-addicted folks. And I hate to say that, but those are the facts. Each city center is completely dead. You can't have this. But hey, they're not going to listen to folks like me. Definitely don't listen to folks like you. They're just going to do what they want. Just remember, October 20th, there's a vote coming up so we can get these folks out of here and replace them with good quality people that actually care. Tell me, what do you guys think?
I'm just going to say this. Working in Canada is like modern day slavery these days. Salaries have not kept up with the cost of living. We see everything skyrocketing between housing, insurance, groceries, everything. There's Canadians out here spending half of their income on housing, and that's not okay.
Okay, don't mind me. I had a lazy day today, but I just wanted to come on here and say, how is anyone surviving these days? I did my groceries today, and we do eat pretty healthy in this house. Like, we focus mostly on whole foods. I make a lot of things from scratch. I do bake at home. Like, we don't buy a whole lot of processed shit. Like, I'll buy my kids chicken fingers and pizzas, but we mainly eat like foods that I make from scratch. And I don't know how anybody is surviving out there. I'm a single mom, but I make a decent salary. My rent is really high. I have a lot of bills, but I make a decent salary. Spent about $300 on groceries today, and it barely made a dent. My fridge and my cupboards still look so bare. So how? If you're not making 80 to 100 grand a year, how are you surviving out there? It's insanity.
Everybody keeps saying it's going to get better. How is it going to get better? Our economy is so fucked that I work a full-time job. I make $21 an hour working 40 hours a week. I have no extra expenses, no bills out of my living. I have one credit card that's maxed because I've lived off of it, but other than that, I don't have cable. I haven't had cable in 10 years. We have cell phones, but, you know, that's required to live on. But other than that, nothing extra. On paper, my bills are $2,701. My income is $2,710. Do the math. $9 a month before I pay for food, gas, car repairs, any entertainment, there's no money for that. And my car is dying. It's paid for, so I don't have car payments now that I'm going to replace. And I don't know how to do that on $9 a month. $9 to feed myself, $9 to buy a car, $9 for insurance. Yeah. So at the end of the day, this is me because I worked 8.5 hours a day, knowing that it's not enough, that it won't be enough. Fuck you, Ontario.
The cost of living in Canada is literally creating homeless drug addicts, and at an alarming rate. People are losing their jobs, getting laid off, not able to find new jobs to provide for themselves and their families. And as they're becoming homeless, they are turning to substances to numb the pain, to just because they have nothing else to do all day, and because they're just surrounded by it. Like, it's actually insanely scary to me how many addicts I see nowadays just walking down the street. Like, whereas a couple of years ago there was quite a bit, but now it's just like everywhere you turn, everywhere you look, there's an addict, there's an addict, there's an addict, there's a homeless person struggling, and it's just like, it's hard to feel like it's not intentional at this point.
I know there's already like thousands of other videos out there about the housing crisis in Canada, but I'm just gonna add to it a little bit more. So I recently moved in with my partner. We are living in a 3-bedroom townhouse in Langley, British Columbia. Langley, British Columbia. I need to specify Langley, not Vancouver. We are an hour at least outside of Vancouver, depending on traffic. And our rent is $3,300 a month. Like, no utilities, just $3,300 just for rent. And I was telling this to some of my coworkers today who are a bit older than me, like 10, 15 years older, who either have been living in their place for a while or they own a place. And they were shook. They were shocked. They did not realize that $3,300 a month was the going rate. And actually, we got a good deal. The going rate in our neighborhood of Willoughby is like $3,500 for what we have. I actually have a coworker who lives in Surrey, which is like 25 minutes away, closer to Vancouver. She has like a 3,000 square foot house on like this huge property, and she only pays $2,400 a month for her mortgage because she bought her house like, I don't know, a decade ago. And it is bonkers to me that in Langley, British Columbia, it is $3,300, and that's a good deal, for a 3-bedroom townhouse. And I used to live in Vancouver. I had to move out to Langley because it was cheaper. I couldn't afford Vancouver anymore. And $3,300 is absolutely not affordable. And my partner and I...
The cost of living in Canada is sick. There is no more cost of living. There is only cost of surviving. My girlfriend and I met for coffees the other day, and she owes a little bit of money to the government, and she was crying to me, saying, I don't know what to do. I'm working 3 jobs. I'm a single mother. Like, I can't afford to live here anymore. So she had a call with the CRA, and the CRA ripped her apart. They said, it is unacceptable that you have not maxed out your credit cards to pay us. It is not acceptable that you are paying $1,000 a month in groceries for yourself and your 3 children. You need to cut back. So she said to them, you're telling me that you want me to take the food from my children's mouth to pay your greedy ass, when it's your fault that fucking groceries are astronomically priced right now. We are all in this together. We are all suffering together. The cost of living is killing people. Families are falling apart. People don't get to see their children because they have to work 2, 3, 4 jobs. I need to let people know that there's another way. And I'm telling you, you need to start looking into the world of digital marketing, digital products, digital sales. These are all things that you can do at home. Make them at home, build them at home, implement it at home, start marketing it at home, and start making the money at home. Working your 9 to 5 is barely getting you by. You're never going to get ahead. But I'm telling you, you need to do something because this isn't going to get better. Watch what's going to happen in the housing market this year. Watch the price of groceries. Watch the price of gas. Like, we're not getting relief. This is not going away. So how are you going to get on top of it? What are you going to do to make sure that you and your family can survive? Fuck surviving. What are you going to do so that you and your family can thrive? Because it is possible. All you need to do is take the first step.
Seriously up to here with the Liberals. Like, I just paid almost $400 for groceries for my dog and I. I had to put $25 worth of gas because if I put more, I would have left myself without any income. And I paid rent. That left me $50 for 2 weeks. And I'm thinking, anyone who votes Liberal in the next election really should be put in prison, because I lived through the 70s in a recession and I do not remember it being this bad. It was bad. But it wasn't this bad. And for several reasons, it wasn't this bad. It wasn't this bad because A, we didn't have internet. So we didn't have internet to pay. We didn't have cell phones. There was one landline. And of course, it was up to your parents to pay that. But now we are paying exorbitant amount of prices. I just paid $17 for olive oil. $17 for olive oil. Italian olive oil. Mind you, it's pure virgin olive oil, which I love. And I've only ever used. But $17. And most of the food I actually bought discounted. Well, not discounted. It was actually on sale. But on sale here in Newfoundland means it's pretty much near the due date or past the due date or almost going bad. So when I opened my 5-pound bag of potatoes, of course they had Sprouts. But they were on sale for $3.99. So why would I buy them? Why would I pay $7.99 or $8.99 or $9.99 for a new bag of potatoes? It just means I'm going to have to eat potatoes really fast. I also bought meat, but I usually take one portion of meat and I divide it into several portions. And that's usually for my dog because I don't eat meat. And I bought him some treats. And that's not even including body cream, hand soap. I didn't even buy those things. I didn't buy toilet paper. I didn't buy paper towels. I didn't buy napkins. I didn't buy any cheese. I forgot to buy margarine. I forgot to buy butter. I forgot to buy tomato sauce. And I almost spent $400.
I literally went to the grocery store today again, and I already went on Thursday. It is now Sunday. On Thursday, I spent over $500, and today I spent over $200 just to get some basic things that we needed from the grocery store, like produce and snacks for lunches. And when I tell you that living in Canada is literally insane, why am I spending almost $700 in 1 week for my basic living needs? Hi, my name is Lindsay and I live in Ontario, Canada. I'm a mom of 2 kids and I'm a full-time educator, and I started a side hustle 9 months ago to help with the price of inflation, so I did not have to work another second part-time job on top of my full-time job because I was never seeing my kids because I worked 80 plus hours a week.
I actually really disagree with this. I think in Canada, you get a lot more for your money here. I lived in a 3-bedroom terrace house. It was a brand new house in the UK. I paid £1,300 a month for rent alone. With bills, council tax and everything on top, I pay way more for that house than the one I do in Canada. This one I paid $2,800. It's a 3-bedroom. It's only like, it's half the house. We only have like the top floor of the house. Bills are all included. It's a beautiful home in a beautiful neighborhood. Incredible view. Like, you definitely get way more for your money here. I think food wise, yes, there are cheaper places in the UK that you can get cheaper foods. But at the same time, like I say, in the UK, you have council tax, road tax, you have more bills that you have to pay out. TV license, you have to pay to watch TV. Like, you have to have a license. Like, there's a lot more outgoings in the UK, I think, compared to Canada. I do know that obviously like the minimum house price in the Okanagan is like $1 million, $1 million, sorry. But in the UK, it's not far off. It would be like £500,000, which isn't that far off $1 million. Like when you convert it, I don't think. So I definitely feel like you get way, way, way more for your money in Canada compared to the UK. I do think that you earn more money in Canada. I do think salaries are higher than the UK, depending on the work that you're in or what job you do. Also, getting a rented property in Canada is extremely easy. In my experience, it was pretty easy. When you try and get a rented property in the UK, you have to submit your taxes, it's basically like applying for a mortgage to get a rented property in the UK. When we got that 3-bedroomed house before we moved here, the one in the UK, we had to have a guarantor that earned over £60,000 a year. Not many people earn that. So the people that don't have people that are willing to be guarantors, you've got no chance of getting a rented property. The hoops that they make you jump through just to be able to get a rented property in the UK is unobtainable. It's outrageous. In Canada, I found it relatively easy. Not a lot was required of me. They didn't ask a lot of me. They just needed like my husband's job offer letter, a few pay slips. Like that was it. In the UK, the stuff they ask for, it's like you're signing your soul away to the devil just to get a rented property. And like I said, it's like cramped, like 3-bedroom terrace house. Everyone's overlooking you. There's no space. So I think that you get more for your money in Canada for sure.
Or I'm having a life. I don't know, man. I just don't know what to do anymore. I'm sitting outside work, crying my eyes out in my vehicle. Because I can't function anymore. Financially, I don't understand anymore. I don't understand how I make $34 an hour and I can't function. I can't function. I can't pay my bills. I can't even literally keep gas in my car to get to work 3 days a week because I can't afford it. Like I get paid and it goes to car, mortgage, a couple little bills, and then maybe $80 in food for the week. And I literally only buy groceries when my daughter's home now. On the weeks that she goes with her dad, which is Monday to Monday, what I've started doing is I buy a loaf of rye bread, and I work really hard to keep that one loaf of rye bread lasting me the whole week, and I eat peanut butter. So I'll eat peanut butter toast whenever I'm hungry. And it's been fine. It's been working just fine. I'm good with that. That's fine.
Richard.
Yes.
You're homeless. You're in Saskatoon.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Well, I was born in Toronto in 1950, and I spent most of my life in California. My dad moved down there when I was 5. I came up here 8 years ago because they detected that I had an aortic aneurysm down there, and my insurance rate went up from $140 a month to $3,400 a month, plus pills, plus 20% to go to the doctor and stuff, and I could only afford it for a little while. So I came up here for the health reasons. Been in the Humboldt area, Quill Lake area lots, and a month and a half ago I had a stroke. So I was in the Humboldt hospital for 2 weeks, and then the social services gave me a bus ticket to come down here. I'm real glad I did, because it gives me a place to stay, and they feed you, and at least I'm not on the streets, because I couldn't survive on the streets, never spent a night on the streets. So I'm just glad to be alive.
So you're living in a homeless shelter, basically?
Yeah, I'm living in a homeless shelter on the floor with just a mat for a bed, and there's a TV in the room,
but it's still better than being out here.
Oh yeah, 1,000 times better, right?
So you're lucky you never hit the streets at all.
Yeah, I'm lucky I never hit the streets. I keep being down here. I'm new to the city, don't know the city or anything like that.
And homelessness is scary.
Yeah, like I'm just scared. Basically, I'm scared every day because I see the homeless people out walking around, and I wouldn't know how to handle it. It depresses me when I just think about it, you know.
I would say that $10,000 a month in Vancouver today gets you much less of a lifestyle than even like 10, 15 years ago making 50 grand a year. And the way I found this out was I've been making between $20,000 and $40,000 a month for the entirety of this year, and it doesn't feel like I'm in great shape.
So let's say he makes 30,000 in the middle. That's 360K a year. Okay, let's continue.
I still cannot buy a house.
We'll do the math in a second. That doesn't seem to make sense.
That is absolutely insane. And honestly, I am pretty good with my money. Now, I'm not saying any of this to say, oh, you should just go out and try to make a whole bunch of more money. I'm saying this stuff to say it's okay to rent. Don't feel like just because whoever it is around you is buying their first house that you have to as well. Don't look at that from the outside and think, oh, I'm 28, why don't I have a house yet? It's just a different landscape. Be okay.
Yeah, that's fine if you don't want to buy and you prefer to rent and you want to invest that money into your business or something like that. But to say that you can't afford to buy and you make between 20 to 40,000 a month, that's absurd. Let's see what he has to say now.
Focus on making more money. Focus on the things that actually matter.
All right, so let's use the $10,000 amount as an example. So let's say it's 10K gross, take off $3,000 for taxes. So let's say your net take home is around $7,000, $7,500. Then you're looking at a 1 bedroom in Vancouver. Minimum for 1 bedroom is $2,400. Then you've got food and groceries. We'll go on the low side as well, $600. Let's assume you have a car, $500, car insurance, $200 to $300, gas, $200 to $300, utilities, $300, miscellaneous, $250, which is very, very little. People spend much more than that. So your total monthly expenses are going to be around $4,500. So take that off of the net amount of $7 grand, and you're looking at between $2,500 to around $3,000 net after all of your expenses. So to say that you're not doing that well, I mean, if you have any debt at all, obviously that's going to eat into that 3K or that 2,500. So yeah, you're not going to be thriving making that 10K, but to say that you can't save for a down payment after 1 year, that's still going to be $36,000, and you can easily buy a 1 bedroom, even on the outskirts of Vancouver. But for this gentleman to say he makes on average 30K a month, that's $360,000 a year, you can afford to buy a property. I think he's just trying to make the point that if you want to rent, you should rent, but don't justify it with these numbers and saying you can't afford it. Because if you're making $30,000 a month, you can definitely afford to buy in Vancouver.
And that's where we are, Canada. The cost of living isn't just going up, it's going out of control. In part 1, we talked about food and housing. In part 2, we've peeled back even more layers: gas, utilities, childcare, insurance, taxes, the hidden costs that quietly bleed Canadians dry every single month. And the truth is, these aren't extras. These are basics, things no Canadian should have to fight for. But here's what's so heartbreaking. More and more people are admitting they're just barely hanging on. Not saving, not planning for the future, just surviving. And when survival becomes the norm, in one of the richest countries in the world, something is deeply broken. Think about the emotional toll. Parents staring at bills late at night, calculating what to cut this month. Seniors choosing between heating and eating after giving their whole lives to this country. Young Canadians delaying marriages, delaying kids, delaying their dreams, not because they're lazy or entitled, but because the math simply doesn't work anymore. And meanwhile, we're told by politicians to be patient or tighten our belts, while corporations report record profits. Here's my opinion, and I'll say it bluntly. This is not a crisis caused by Canadians being irresponsible. This is a crisis caused by leaders who failed to plan, corporations that put greed above people, and a system that was never built with ordinary families in mind. And unless we call it out, unless we push back, nothing changes. But here's the part they don't want to admit. We are not powerless. Our voices matter. Sharing your story matters. Demanding accountability matters. Because when enough Canadians speak out, when enough Canadians refuse to stay silent, that's when the pressure becomes impossible to ignore. So I want to hear from you. What part of the cost of living is hitting you the hardest right now? Is it rent? Is it food? Is it heating bills or childcare? Drop your story in the comments, because I promise you, you are not alone. And the more we share, the stronger we become as a community. And if you believe these conversations need to happen, if you're tired of being ignored, then hit that subscribe button and join us here at Canadian Rant. Because this isn't just a channel, it's a community, a place where frustration turns into strength, where silence turns into action, and where ordinary Canadians can finally be heard. The cost of living crisis may feel overwhelming, but together, we can push back. Together, we can demand better. Because no Canadian, young or old, new or long-time resident, should have to fight this hard just to survive in a country that's supposed to be full of opportunity. This is Canadian Rant. Your voice, your fight, your community.